everyone. Welcome to Pairfect. I am Dinah Ventura.
And I'm Jojo Silvestre. And our guest this afternoon is a dear friend of mine. She is a glass sculptor. She studied glass cold working at the studio at Corning Museum of Glass in Corning, New York, USA, and glass casting and design in
Kamenitsky,
Kamenitsky,
Shanov.
Shanov, in Czech Republic. So, hi, may we present to you Miss Marge Organo.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today here at your program,
I'm very
Pairfect.
glad to meet you finally in person.
Yes,
Your works are wow. No, Jojo?
thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
My pleasure.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah. So, tell us how you started in this industry.
Well, actually, I started, it's supposed to be a hobby because I was already like towards my retirement. And I've always been doing art when I was younger, but then there's no formal lessons or anything. I just want to do art because I just really love to do it. So when my business was already running on its own, I didn't think that there's something else that I could do anymore. So like when you're younger, you go to school, and then when you get married, you take care of the kids. You have no time for anything else. So when I was, my kids were already stable and my business was running on its own, I said it's time for myself also to do what I want to do.
Okay.
So I went to enroll in art lessons, starting with drawing and painting, but I was looking for something else. So I said I might as well go to study sculpture. So I went to study sculpture in one of the workshops in Quezon City. And during that time, while I was studying sculpture, some of my friends noticed that maybe my sculpture was acceptable to them. So they invited me to join national exhibit. It was Alay Sining at first. And true enough, I joined Alay Sining in the same year, that was 2014. Although my pieces were not sold on that exhibit, a gallery noticed my works and they offered to represent me. Of course, I'm very overwhelmed by the fact that a gallery should even pay attention to my work because I'm not really a professional artist. I just started there as a hobbyist and all. So I allowed them to display my works in their gallery. And luckily, my pieces were sold out. So I was very
Wow.
encouraged.
Glass was your chosen medium already when you
No, the
started.
first time when I started, I was just doing clay, figurative sculpture, and resin. I molded them. I casted them in resin. I thought that there were not too many women in sculpture. But when I found out in that exhibit that there were a lot of very talented female sculptors, I said to myself, I think I'll just give the stage to them. I was starting at a very mature age already, and I don't stand a chance, or I won't stand out, or I really will not be noticed if I was doing the same thing as everybody
Right.
else. But then I always wanted to have a glass sculpture for myself, but I know it's very expensive and I cannot afford it.
Moranos.
And being a DIY mom that I am, I said I'd rather go and study glass sculpture myself and make my own glass sculpture. So why not? So I did some research and I applied at Corning Museum of Glass. That's where I discovered they are the most prestigious glass workshop in the
In the
world, I think.
world.
Yes,
Wow.
because they're very well known. So I said, okay. I tried to apply even if I don't have a background in glass sculpture. And luckily, 1 year later, I was notified that I was accepted already. So I'm very happy. And I went on to Corning Museum of Glass, and that's how
How long
everything
was the
started.
training for that?
Well, you can choose to take like a 2 week program, 3 week program, but I stayed there for like a month.
Okay.
And that was like very intensive. Huh? It's not like, okay, you're going to be taught about history of art and everything.
Nothing
It like
theoretical.
everything was concentrated on the subject
actual.
that you want.
Okay.
So I was working from 8 o'clock in the morning until 12 midnight, like every day, every single day, until the cleaners would come inside the classroom and said, "It's time to close, so you have to leave." But if they didn't come, I would have been working
Stay.
like 24 hours a day because I really love to do it. And glass sculpture, if you don't have assistants, if you don't have assistants working with you, it can be very tedious. It's very labor intensive, you know. You have to go through all of these stages in order to make the opaque glass brilliant, like transparent and brilliant. So that's the hard part, like doing everything by yourself.
Tell us about the medium. What's special about glass?
Yeah, glass is, there are different kinds of glass. I can only talk about the kind of glass that I
with.
use as my medium. But the limited knowledge I know about the other kinds of glass are that, like, we have window glass, we have bottle glass, and we have optical glass, we have lead optical glass, crystal. So the medium that I use, which is optical glass, it's also called crystal sometimes because it has a high refractory index. Refractory index means that it has a very brilliant shine when it's polished. But there's a more brilliant kind of glass, which is lead crystal glass, but it's very heavy. It's like it has lead in it, so it has metal. And sometimes they say it's kind of dangerous, but I don't think it's that dangerous because it has only a little amount of lead that goes with it. So
Where do you get your glass?
Materials.
they're imported from other countries. So that's why it's very expensive. The material itself is expensive, but also what adds to the high cost is that, you know, we have to import, we have to pay importation cost, and we have to pay in US dollars. And the other materials also that I use, like the one that I use it for I use for lamination, and the other glue that I use, it's also imported. They're all imported. We
It
cannot
sounds like
buy them
the
here.
whole process is really tedious, as you were
Yes, it is,
saying.
it
What
is.
goes into the process of creating a sculpture?
Well, it's all carving. My technique is all glass carving and polishing. I don't use any kind of fire. Or it's actually very environment friendly.
Okay.
I don't.
I always thought there was fire involved in it.
No. The only heat that I use is to cure the glue that I use. So otherwise, everything is because I'm an advocate of the environment. So I wouldn't want anything to be going to the environment. Like, you know, if you bake it or fire it, it uses a lot of, you know, a carbon footprint. So I just grind, like, you know, it's like shaping a wood sculpture. You cut some sides, and you grind some sides, and then you polish it to a brilliant shine. That's what I do. But then, you know, it's like so easy to say, but every single side of the glass, when you cut it, you have to grind it 6 different grits in order to be able to
Grabe.
achieve, order to be able to achieve that brilliance that you want.
Okay.
So
and I think that's
yun.
what really distinguishes your work, the brilliance. Di ba?
Yes,
Parang it's
I like brilliant things. I like gold. I like diamonds, and I like glass. So
Okay.
You mean the glasses that are not that are manufactured here
no,
are not sufficient
No.
for the purpose?
no. We only manufacture here the glass that they use for bottles and for
Okay.
windows. Yeah.
Okay. Even those green
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah, I think those are for windows only.
So how do you create a work of art? Do you go through a process like you pray, you what? What's your ritual?
I do pray a lot actually, although I don't look like I'm a prayerful person. I pray a lot, but then I get inspired with a lot of things. Like everything I see, the works of the other artists, I do some research and everything, but most of the time it's because I challenge myself to do something better than what I was taught. I look at when I first came out of glass school,
Yeah.
people would ask me, "Can you make this?" Like
Yeah.
when I met the owners of Daily Tribune, they asked me if I could like do nudes in glass, and I was saying no, I cannot because that's what they taught. That's not what they taught us. But it was a challenge to me also. Like if will I be able to do this with the technique that I'm using? And sure enough, now I'm making
Nudes?
torsos.
Wow.
I'm making nude
Yeah.
figures already. So it's just about how if you dare to do something and experiment on it, and if it's not successful, you can just do it all over again.
What were your early subjects? I'm just curious.
So, before it was like what we were taught is like geometric
abstract.
designs. Yeah, abstract geometrics. So I'd get like my works before were like square or triangular or cubes.
Okay.
That those were my first works.
What
Early
were the
organo.
size? Like small ones or massive ones?
Well, you know, here in the Philippines, we always like big pieces for art pieces because they don't really notice small ones, right?
Yeah.
So it's either you get noticed if you wear it, just like what I'm wearing now,
Very
one of
beautiful.
my works. But otherwise, if you make a small piece of glass sculpture and you put it on the side, people will not really notice it and they don't really appreciate it because they're always thinking that it might be, the things that you buy from
Souvenir
the
shops.
department stores or to the craft stores. But here, I wanted to make like bigger ones. Like my glass is really heavy, so the bigger it is for me, the more attractive.
Okay.
So they're very heavy. So I have at least I have assistants here in the Philippines, not like when I was studying that I just had to do it all on my own. But they were all also very challenging. I think the ones that I did when I was starting are even harder to make than those that I'm doing now.
How do you go about it? Do you first draw it or do you
I used to
create
do
as
that.
you?
I used to do that. Like I do a sketch and then I cut the
Measure.
glass. I cut the glass according to the sketch. But maybe I'm because of my stubbornness. I don't even follow myself. So when I make a sketch, I end up doing something else.
Oh.
It's just something to start with, and then, especially with glass, if you're working with glass, sometimes you cannot visualize the brilliance and the how it will reflect on one side. So I have to do an actual test when it's already being made.
Wow.
So yeah, I everything even the designs that I put on the Santo Niño figures, I just freehand them because you cannot draw on the glass and then put a mark on it because it's transparent on the side. The challenge here is how to put all those layers of glass together without seeing without showing the the ugly part, you know. You cannot put the
Seamless, how
shadows
to
there.
make it
Yeah,
look-
it has to be beautiful full from all the sides because I
Okay.
put a turntable and it just turns around, so you cannot just escape. You cannot escape the eyes of the viewer if you're just cheating them.
You mentioned about the Santo Niño. Tell us how you got started. I understand you went to Prague, no?
Yes, yes.
So,
I've always been a devotee of Santo Niño. But when I went to Prague,
to study.
yes, I went to Prague to study glass, to augment what I learned in New York. And I went to search for the Santo Niño, the shrine. And when I met the Santo Niño in person, like I was so overwhelmed that I made it my mission to be able to create something like that in the future in glass. I didn't know how. I really didn't know how. It was just a dream for me. Because I've never seen any Santo Niño in glass before.
That's true, no?
There's only one
wood lang.
I saw on the internet, but it was made by a friend of mine in Corning that I met in Corning. He's a very famous teacher of glass blowing. He made a Santo Niño, a glass blown Santo Niño, and he gifted it to Pope Francis.
Tell us how you actually saw the image.
Yeah, I wanted to buy some Santo Niño images and have it blessed at the shrine. But it was like late already. They were closed. So I tried to go inside, you know, may pagka-atrevida kasi ako. I went to peer inside the rooms that were locked. And luckily, parang one of the rooms were quite open. So I knocked and I peeped inside and I saw the priest there. And I was asking if he could like bless what I bought. But then I saw one of the shelves. What attracted me is like there's a small statue of Santo Niño there. And I asked if that's the Santo Niño de Prague. They said they were renovating the altar during that time, so they had to take it out and put it in the sacristy. So I was like, you know, I was close to tears. I was so overwhelmed. Like, there's something, Santo Niño is telling me something. Then I asked lang if the priest is willing for me to take a picture of the Santo Niño and take a picture with him. And the secretary was saying, no, this is a restricted area. You have to go. You have to go. But Father is very, bait. He said, okay, come, let's take a picture. So I was holding all these mga plastic bags na mga binili ko. And nataranta ako. I put it down somewhere. I asked the secretary, please take our picture since Father naman is willing. So I tried to, push my luck a little bit more. I said, Father, can I hold the infant Jesus and have a picture with you? And he said, yes, of course you can. Oh my God. It's like, everything, I was so, everything locked out. Like, my eyes was just on the Santo Niño. Parang I was so blessed during that day. Parang I was even having goosebumps and parang teary-eyed and all. So, yun, I have, and
See
then,
what happens when you ask for it. No?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
so parang sabi ko, maybe he was telling me something. And then the next day I went there again. I went to visit the museum, and there's where I found all these Santo Niño clothes na very colorful. We are like limited here. We are limited to like Santo Niño's wearing red lang, or green lang, or white, or gold lang. But there you can see it's very colorful with flowers and everything. And I said, one day I'm going to do something like this.
The
No,
bright
we don't
colors,
really see that.
the brilliance.
But I went home. I came home, and they were just like thoughts before. And pandemic came. Everybody was praying. Everybody's sick. You don't know where to go. Sabi ko, I think this is high time for me to experiment making Santo Niño.
Okay, let's hold it there. Because that's a very
I can't
interesting...
wait to hear about it. Yes.
Let's just pause for a commercial break
We'll
first.
be right back.
Nagtitiis ka na lang ba sa e-wallet at lumang bank apps mo?
Struggle! I can't receive payments na.
I need to go to the bank branch to deposit a check pa.
Singila na. So hassle to do it one by one. I need to send my bank deets again and again.
Tiis no more! With UB, hindi ka na mahahassle, hindi ka na magsistruggle, at hindi ka na magte-travel pa to the bank branch to transact. Ayos? Ayos! Download Union Bank online now.
doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with the network that gets better every day for you.
Viber is the free and secure way to connect with friends and family anywhere. Send messages and make phone and video calls for free. Download Viber now.
Iba ng panahon, ang dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ang bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it to centers, pati sa mga parties may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still phone remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayad.
So our glass sculptor, Marge Organo, has been sharing with us her stories about her being, her going to Prague and then seeing
How she
the
became
infant.
a glass sculptor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she went to Prague. She studied there, and then she visited the
Santo Niño.
Yeah. Yes. So tell us more. How has the Santo Niño affected your life? Ano ba ang nangyari na may mga natanggap ka bang mga miracles or?
Oh yes, I think I attribute all this the things that are happening to me now from
As a gift?
sa Santo Niño. Kay Santo Niño talaga. Kasi when I started making Santo Niño during the pandemic. It was in 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2020. Parang we came to a standstill, right? Everybody was at home. We cannot go out, we cannot work. So, sa akin, parang nagpahinga rin kami sa paggagawa ng art dahil wala ka namang, although continuous yung work namin sa studio, yung work ko sa studio, kaya lang we slowed down a little bit. So, I had time to make Santo Niño experiment on making a figurative sculpture.
Which you never did before.
I think I made mga figures dati, parang mother and child. But Santo Niño I never did.
Yung
Kasi
buong ganon.
medyo marami siyang it has small parts like cross and
Yung
The-
the world.
kamay, lahat. So, saka you cannot just let it go na glass lang siya. Wala siyang ibang decorations kasi it's not going to be as it is pag wala yung mga decorations sa damit, di ba? So, eto na. I tried to experiment. Parang experiment lang nung una. I didn't think na magiging okay naman. But I was like making it for myself lang, not for anybody. So, nung natapos ko, maganda pala. I really liked it. And then I showed the gallery. This is what I made for myself during the pandemic. So I was like, I sent it to the church for it to be blessed. Parang, no, we want it. And they sent right away somebody to pick it up. Nauna pa yung nagpipick up kesa yung inutusan ko sa church na magpa-bless. Sabi ko, sige na nga, I'll just make another one. And then like another one, and then I had an exhibit na all Santo Niño. And luckily, they were all sold out. And so this is like the second year that I'm making Santo Niño. Up to now, I don't have my own.
Everything all.
That's the irony. The irony is I
Gets,
don't have my
snapped
own
up.
Santo Niño.
How long does it take for you to make one?
It takes a long time. But because I have assistants, we can do everything simultaneously naman.
So it's a little bit faster now.
If I count the days for one single Santo Niño to be finished, it will take like 2 or 3 months
Oh,
to
wow.
finish. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Ganun pala. Ang ganda eh.
work of
Considering the things that you have to do in order to finish the whole
one
piece.
piece.
Oo.
Okay.
Intermission to ha. nagtataka ako kasi iba-ibang kulay. Do you put color to the glass or
Yes, yes. That's what I learned in Corning. They taught us how to put color. But the color that they taught us was like simple lang. So that there's where my experimentation happened again, and I tried to experiment. Na okay naman. So now I'm having rainbows and all that stuff in there.
It's beautiful.
ganda, no?
And my classmates were asking in Corning were asking how I do it. But they have to experiment also themselves and discover.
Would you say that that's what makes a Marge Organo work different?
Oo nga.
Distinct?
That is, yes.
The
Oo.
colors.
Because I think even in I don't know if there's anybody who have come up with the same the designs that I'm coming up
Oo nga.
in the whole world. I think I'm the only one who's
Talaga.
doing that. So I still have to see some people, some glass artists making the same. Otherwise, they also do colored
Look at that.
pieces like that, but
Ganda, oh.
blown glass.
I
blown
think
glass.
that's
Yeah.
the Filipina in her, huh?
I know.
Yung,
Yeah, that's the advantage of being a Filipino. In a third world country, you like, you like to do stuff na parang, if I were in the US, hindi ko siguro magagawa yun. There's a lot of things that are not allowed. Like when I was studying, I tried to do something with the sculpture. And my teacher said, that's not the way to do it. But I said, this is art, you have freedom to do anything. I said, okay, if that's what you want, but don't tell anybody that you did it in my class.
Okay.
Parang, being a stubborn person that I am, sabi ko, when I get back to Manila, I can do anything I want already. So when I came here,
And you
when
did.
I came back, yes, I did.
and you know what? She really did that, no? But she's a mother.
I know.
Yes.
Just other aspects of her life.
Yes.
Tell us more about your family.
Yeah,
And
I
your
have
kids.
3 boys and 1 girl. My daughter is also embarking on her own glass career already. She has shown her work at Manila Art the last time and displaying in other galleries. So I also sent her to Corning Museum of Glass, but she's using a different technique. My son is now managing the family business, which is the pharmaceuticals company, which is quite actually it's doing better than when I was managing it. So I think it's in good hands and I'm very comfortable now. I have my own life already, although he still supports me. He still supports me, but I'm glad na I have already left the business to him, and because being an artist, you cannot do it part-time.
I know.
You have to be full-time, especially with glass. Everything has to be in the right focus and time and attention. It should be that way. Otherwise, if it's part-time lang, you won't be able to come up with nice pieces unless hobbyist ka lang talaga. But it started out as a hobby for me until people got attracted to what I'm doing. So I'm happy and I'm very thankful to the collectors who believe in my work and who believe in what I do. And I'm very inspired by them.
Oh, tell us about your other sons.
Yeah, my other sons, one of them is a nurse. He's in the US. And he doesn't want to come back here anymore. And my youngest son, he just passed the medical board exam. So he's a doctor already. And I
Very
hope
successful children.
And very handsome.
and I hope he can find a nice hospital where he can become a resident this year, I hope. Yeah, but otherwise, no, my children and I were just like barkada. We enjoy each other's companies. My children, parang sila yung magbabarkada talaga. They go out together, they play tennis together, they vacation together. And kasama din ako minsan if I'm not busy with my work. But most of the time kasi, if you're old already, you cannot walk a lot. So I just tell them, sige kayo na lang, you just go. and I'll just come when I don't have to do a lot of walking.
Yeah, you told us earlier that you started out with your art quite late already.
Yes.
So at that time, how old were your kids and how did they take
Oh, they were
to
all
your
grown
shift?
up already. I've been in the art business for about 6-7 years lang.
Okay, wow.
So I'm a senior citizen now.
You know, I'm just wondering, is there an artist that you look up to, someone that you admire? Sino ba yung parang naging role model mo?
Maraming I idolize a lot of Filipino artists.
Like who?
There's a lot. They are my friends. So baka mamaya I say somebody's name and then magseselos yung mga iba. So talagang I love Filipino artists are very very talented and I'm so proud of them. But with the glass, most of those who inspire me are mga European artists.
Okay.
Oo, those who are kasi most of the time glass is mostly glass blowing and glass casting. I like them both, but I'm attracted more to the process that I'm using now. I also went to study glass casting, but I don't like it as much as what I'm doing, the cold working process.
What do you call yours? It's not casting, it's not blowing.
It's cold working.
Cold working.
Cold working.
Yeah,
I
cold
see.
working, it's the process for everybody who's making glass. Parang, kumbaga, if you're not cold working to carve your glass into a certain shape, when you do glass blowing, the last part of finishing is cold working. So, cold working is yan yung naghahasain mo siya, pakikinisin mo yung mga tusok-tusok, o pakikintabin mo. That's the cold working process.
Okay.
So you don't have to make pukpok. Walang ganon.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
no. Walang ganun. We cut. We have a glass cutter, which sometimes it's considered very dangerous. Like, first time natatakot ako, even my workers, when I trained them, everybody's so scared because, you know, you have this huge blade, you know, have this glue. Tapos, ang bilis niyang, you know,
talaga?
it rotates like that. And then you have to put the glass there, you have to cut the glass.
Tapos
you know?
mabigat yan, di ba?
And they
Hindi
may,
naman.
there's like a platform
Okay,
that
okay.
you just push and pull and then slide it to the other side. But you have to do it correctly. Like you cannot like
Precise.
cut it like wood na parang finish. No, you have to do it like slowly and kailangan may rhythm ka rin. So when I was just training them, they were all like so scared. Kasi when you cut glass, tumatalsik yan eh, just like wood.
Talaga?
So you have to wear
May
mga
mga
protective.
splinters. So you have to wear protective
Oh my God.
goggles for your eyes. But then, we were specifically told by our teacher in New York that you cannot wear long sleeves.
Because?
I might get caught.
Yeah, kasi bukod doon, that's right. I was gonna say that. It might get caught in the saw, in the blade.
Oh my God.
Or when the glass
splinters.
splinters get attached to the shirt, you know, they get attached to the shirt kasi.
Okay.
So you cannot just shake it off. Baka maiwan yon and then masusugatan ka or anything. So they prefer na bare ang arms mo, but you cannot rub it to clean it. You have to spray it with water. You flush it with water. Otherwise, you'll get glass cuts. And you know when you get
Scratches.
glass cuts, ang daming dugo.
Really?
Konting ano lang, talaga ang daming dugo.
Do you work the whole day?
Ano
ang kwan mo? Typical day?
Most of the days I'm at the studio. I'm not as physically active now because I have assistants already. So I supervise them. Then when I have to demonstrate what I want, sometimes kasi sasabihin, ganitong ikakat natin na part, I have to demonstrate it myself. I think I sent you a video na
But
I'm
cutting.
I'm grinding glass.
We hear that you have this special project going on in Hala-Hala.
Yes, I do.
Tell us
I
about
do.
it.
Well, at first, like when I started glass, everything was just I started as a hobby. But this one, since I'm already at a ripe age of retirement, everybody wants to prepare for his retirement. So
Yeah.
I wanted to have like a farm where I can like ganchillo and watch the sunset, you know. But then, ano, parang lumaki ng lumaki because maybe it's what Santo Niño was directing me to do. When I was younger, I always wanted to have a chapel of my own.
Okay.
And then this one, parang it presented me with a very nice location on top of the hill, you know, when you have like a chapel on top of the hill and you are overlooking the Laguna Bay and the mountains on in the background. What else is a better place to put a chapel, right? Parang sa
Right.
Italy, you have a
Yeah.
chapel on the hill
Hillside
and all.
chapels.
And then, because before I was contemplating on donating a glass Santo Niño to a deserving church somewhere. Now, the Santo Niño that I'm going to make will
Be
be
for that
in that
chapel.
chapel already. And aside from that, sabi ko, since Santo Niño has been blessing me a lot, I think it's only proper that I give him tribute by building a huge Santo Niño statue on top of the hill. So there's going to be, it's also being done by another artist, a sculptor, another sculptor. It's going to be a 60-foot Santo Niño on top of the
Made
hill.
of
It's reinforced concrete naman. We cannot, but
Yes,
we will
kasi-
collaborate. Oo. Lalagay din ako ng glass ko doon.
something glass. Wow, finally you'll have your own Santo Niño.
Yes, yes. Finally, yes.
Alam ba ng
It's the
obispo
fulfillment.
yan?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, alam nila. Because
Oo.
I just had the groundbreaking in April 21. I invited the Bishop of Antipolo, but unfortunately, he was out of the country to do some obligations. But the auxiliary bishop, Father Noli Buko, he was very kind enough to come and to bless our groundbreaking. But the bonus to that is, ito talagang bait ni Santo Niño sa akin. Imagine, I didn't prepare for it. Kasi blessing lang eh. You know, it's too much to ask naman. Magmakaawa ka nga, short notice pa. So, I was just expecting him to bless. But then he offered to say Mass as well. So, nagkaroon ng Mass. So, if Father Noli is listening to this, naiwan niya yung cup niya sa akin.
Talaga? Aba?
Naiwan
Father.
niya, kaya I've yet to go and visit him and return it
bring
to him.
it.
Kasi made in Italy siya, hindi siya made in China.
What do you intend for the place to be eventually?
Yeah,
Tell us.
aside from, of course, Santo Niño is my primary purpose.
Yes.
And then saving the environment. That's why lumaki yung place because I saw people who were burning parang kaingin, they were doing kaingin, di ba? It's bad for the environment. Sabi ko, if I have a chance to stop them, which I cannot if they own the property, then baka naman pwedeng ibenta na lang nila sa akin so that I can just give them an alternative livelihood. So, yung mga iba pumayag naman. So, ayan, lumaki ng lumaki. Now, I'm going to give them extra jobs. This one is going to be a tourist spot already and an artist village. But my original concept for Artist Village was to invite artists to give, training program, art workshops for painting, for sculpture, for pottery, for everything, anything that's related with visual arts. So, yun ang purpose ko nung una until some of the artists proposed to me na, why don't you just set aside a certain community where we can buy property there also in smaller cuts of land. And
they
then
will
we
set
can
up.
put our studio there,
Right.
and then we can have like an artist village there, so all the artists will be neighbors with each other.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Okay.
So I hope na, and this artist, I'm very inspired because this artist, they're going to make houses according to their medium. Like if your medium is metal,
They'll make
Metal.
a
predominantly metal yung house.
Ang ganda.
And then the designs are going to be like, sculpture. Alam mo mga artists. Pag kaya nila, ayaw nila magpatalbog. Parang pagandahan. Although in a friendly way, parang friendly competition ba na, uy, itong ginawa ko. Ay, sige, gagawin ko rin ganito. That's how we do it.
You're so busy now,
Oo.
no? You also have an exhibit
Yeah,
upcoming.
I'm having a solo show. I think, I don't know if it's the 9th or so. Solo
June.
show at, it opens on June 9 at Gallery Joaquin BGC.
Okay, we'll go.
It will close on the 23rd, but the artist reception, June 20. Please, I'm inviting you and everybody who's interested in arts. Please come and visit Gallery Joaquin during the time that the exhibit will run from June 9 to June 23.
Mahaba.
But the artist reception will be on June 20 at 5 p.m. So they will serve cocktails there. Masasarap magpakain ng Gallery Joaquin. mind you.
You should go.
What will be the theme for that
Please come.
exhibit?
Oh, it's a combination of all the series that I made in the past. I will, of course, predominantly Santo Niño.
Okay, galing.
I think I have like 8 or 9 pieces of
Pieces,
Santo Niño.
oh.
And
Sold
another
out, I
big hit
suppose.
is the Mother and Child. Mother and Child. I'll have Mother and Child. I'll have abstracts that when I was just
Your early
starting.
works.
Yes, yes. And then I also have female figures.
That's something new for you.
No, I've done that before, and it was like a big hit also. So they want me to, make more of those. I think I sent pictures here.
Yeah.
If I were to inspire you, anong gagawin mo na Jojo?
Ay, gagawin kong sexy ang katawan.
Grabe, Jojo. It's been such a... I
Yeah.
really love talking with you. You're
Yeah.
so interesting and
Yeah.
as brilliant as your glass.
Maghingi tayo ng
Oo.
advice.
I'm very
Oo nga.
talkative.
Other women.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye for
Oh,
now.
yes, okay.
Before we end the show, maybe you would like to say something to our
Yeah.
viewers.
Especially to women who
Yes,
also like
yes.
to pursue their
I've
art.
always people have always thought of me as somebody who inspires women, and I agree in such that at a mature age, you don't really start something new in your life, right? But for me, I started when I was like 56 years old. So like parang magre-retire ka na, what are you still doing? I don't know if I wanted to prove something or it's like I wanted to set an example because a lot of women are afraid to do
Start
something
again.
on their own. No, but ako, I've always been independent and I've always wanted for women to shine, and if I can be a figure that will inspire them, why not, di ba? So for me, for women who want to start something new, not only art or sculpture or a new business or anything, there's always time for as long as you're living, habang
That's
nabubuhay,
beautiful.
while I live, I hope. Diba? There's always a time for something. Because when you were younger, you're busy with the raising children, going to school, raising children, But then ako, nung natapos na yon, siguro there's also time for yourself.
For yourself.
Yes, and this is the time for myself that I've created and I'm very happy with and what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I hope those who are wanting to do something new, especially arts, because see, if you've always been interested in the arts yourself, I think this is the right time to start. Okay?
I'm so inspired. Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much, Marge, for joining us this afternoon.
That was
Thank you
very
so much.
enlightening.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm so inspired, actually, by
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you said in the end. We hope to see you again. We hope to have you here in the studio
Yes.
once again.
Well, it will be my pleasure to keep coming here all the time.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for watching our show. I am Dinah Ventura,
I'm Jojo Silvestre.
and this has been Pairfect.
Perfect.